I thank you very, very much for this. Thanks, really.
Ready to go? Cool. So, just starting off very generally, where did the idea come from for the film?
Oh, saying the idea is like when it comes to you and music, an harmony. If I could answer to this question, I could teach theology in Paris. It's your theological. Oh, gods know where comes idea. If it's a good idea or bad idea, I don't know. But ideas, it's like in music. Gioacchino Rossini. Who comes from this idea, this harmony? We don't know. But I must say that the idea of this movie comes from the desire to make a movie like this, the power of love, not in a sweet way, sugar or schmaltzy honey, but in a very wild way, ferocious, like a tiger who drives you, takes you in pieces, and a man driven by love. And I mean, that doesn't exist a power who can triumph in our vitality and in our love. Maybe we cannot choose our destiny, but we can choose a sense to give to our life and death. And this is what it is, full of life, is alive, in love and free. This is the message, excuse me if I use this word, the message of the movie, to be alive, to be in love, to be free. This is, and just to the desire to tell a story, a wonderful love story. Somebody who loves a woman until the end of the world, and nobody can stop him.
So the love is the most important thing. So the element of the war, was that something you decided to include because of what was going on? You had your love story first, and then you added the war, or were you watching what was happening in the world and decided love was important?
This is a very good question. I know I worked first of all in the love story, then the war happened. When I started to write the movie, Iraqi war wasn't there. Then it happened in March 2003, and I sat there because I couldn't stop to think about this war, this incomprehensible war. And we must be brave and courageous to look in face to the horror. And because otherwise it's unbearable, and this is the duty of art, to make bearable what is unbearable, and to be brave to talk about this, and so our set was our unlucky. This is terrible to say, our natural set. In this moment, we were surrounded by war. Everybody talking about war, and on TV, images, radio, and our dreams and our nightmares was about war. So this is like a terrible fairy tale, a love story set in the reality.
And when you have a serious backdrop like the war, where do you think humour can play a role?
Excuse me, no, I did.
You're dealing with a very serious subject, but you have a lot of humour still.
Yeah.
What role do you think humour can play in serious?
Oh, we need. Otherwise, we get lost and we die without. This is the soul. This is the divine spark, humour, and kindness and joy. Enjoy, because it's what happened in the real life. In the real life, we are always on the edge, in the border between ridiculous and tragic. Tragedy and ridiculous. This is the highest thing and the most terrible thing. We are always there. And our soul and our body are there to balance this. And this is well, sometimes we take us in a very serious and tragic way. We are the humankind, and then we are ridiculous. And this is the war is tragic and ridiculous, in itself. And our existence, we have to think about this divine spark of humor. As Goethe said, the divine spark, humor and irony. Otherwise, we are lost. And the prince of this is, the beginning of because our life is surrounded by tragic and by laugh and to cry. This is from the Bible.
Now, your character is a poet. Attilio is a poet. Do you see the film like a poem in a way?
Oh, this is very right. I thank you, because he's not a poet because he writes verses, but because he makes his life becomes a poem. The biggest poem is his life. Like in every tragedy structure, is not the personality of the protagonist is not given by what he is saying or is talking or his speech, from his actions. The actions make the character, the personality of the protagonist. He is a poet because he acts as a poet. When he's in the motorbike, when he has the flies, when he's killing flies, this is the highest verses he wrote. Yeah.
When he goes to Iraq, the war is happening all around him, but he has one focus, which is saving Vittoria.
Right.
Did you choose that because you wanted to show how strong his love was? He doesn't get involved in the war at all. Was this to highlight his love?
Yeah, but you said he doesn't get involved in the war, but he is involved in a superior war, his personal war. He is involved in the war more than the soldiers. His war, there is a personal war. His war is superior, is higher than one of my favorite scenes is when he is in the barber chair, sleeping, looking at her with the flies. How do you call the flies?
Fly swat.
Yeah, what?
Swat.
Fly swat. And outside there is Americans in the tanks with a machine gun. And this is the image of the two different wars. But how greater is the war, what he is doing. So this is he is involved in a real war. To save one war, the same in the Bible. No, it's like to save the entire universe.
I was interested in the film when people talk in Arabic, there's no subtitles. Was that to show Attilio's lack of understanding when he's there, his confusion?
Exactly.
We have the same.
Oh yes, yeah.
I wanted to ask a bit about the casting. Was it from the beginning? Was it decided it would be you and Nicoletta as the central roles, because you wrote it and you directed?
Oh yes, from the beginning, Nicoletta was in my mind. Yeah, well, absolutely. Because the women in the movie, they are the soul of the movie, the look of the women, the soul of the world, and especially in story, in comedy. So I cannot think a movie without Nicoletta, especially this movie, without this look of severe, sweet, and elegant, and warm, and stern, and full of love, and suffering. Really, she conveys all this sentiment. She's really great. I have to thank her.
You wrote the film, you star in the film, and you direct the film. How do you juggle these three roles? Oh,
this is what happens in your life. When you are preparing a dinner, you are cooking and you are eating it, or I'm doing this chair, I sit on it. There is an harmony on this, and this becomes very natural. Yeah.
So it's not a struggle.
No, not a struggle, absolutely no, because as a director I know Benigni as an actor. If he feels now to act, or if he feels to have a rest, or to have a coffee, or it helped me.
Can you tell me a little bit about your influences? Because talking about being a writer, actor, director, I was thinking about Charlie Chaplin and Woody Allen, for example.
Oh yes, Woody Allen. Is a really great director and one of the greatest humorists of our. It's like Oscar Wilde. I mean, what can I say about Woody Allen? I really love him very, very, very much. And we have that with Charlie Chaplin. Everybody is the prince of everybody, because it was the first one who mixed sorrow with humor, with cynical things too, very strong, very sweet, and so all the feeling, the sentiment, the emotions. We owe to him a lot of joy, Is a gift, no? Someone, you have been so good that I give you Charlie Chaplin. No, this is like a gift.
And about the locations for the film, where did you film? Was it just in Italy?
We couldn't film in Iraq. We tried, but we couldn't. We said, you crazy, you'll be killed there. So, no, not in Italy, but we filmed in Tunisia. Into south of Tunisia, the extreme south, in the border with Libya and Algeria, in the desert of Sahara Desert, in the extreme south, and in Rome, of course, yeah, and the studio, in the Cinecittà Studio Papigno.
And speaking of which, you have your own production company, Melampo.
Yeah.
How important is that for your creative freedom?
Very, because I have to thank the producer, Nicoletta Braschi, and the company. They gave to me the complete freedom. Absolutely, I could do, and I did what I felt. This is really a big power.
I noticed, I think I'm right in saying that Jorge Luis Borges is on the television screen. Is that right, in the film?
No, excuse me?
I read in the production notes that Borges, Borges, the Argentinian poet, the writer, is on the TV in the beginning of the film. Is that?
No.
No, he's not an influence.
No.
No?
Ah, Borges.
Yes.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, I didn't. No, my pronunciation is your pronunciation is the right pronunciation. Yeah, Jorge Luis Borges. Yeah. Oh, yes. Is in the beginning of the movie. There is 4 poets. Is Borges. There is Marguerite Yourcenar, and 2 Italian poets. Is Montale, it was a Nobel Prize, and Ungaretti. You know. And but just because in the dream in the beginning, and Tom Waits, so it was like to see some wonderful poet of 20th century there looking at his wedding, you know. But it was not. I didn't choose them because they were the only I could use technically. This is very strange, no? And I really liked them. I said, very good, I love.
And speaking of Tom Waits, I guess there's the Jarmusch connection there.
Yeah, this is the Jarmusch connection, right? Because I did The Little Devil with John Lurie, and Tiger and the Snow with Tom Waits. And I must say that when he read the script, he fell in love immediately with the script. And he said, but I'll be there immediately, Bob. Yeah, and he wrote a wonderful song, You Can Never Hold Back Spring. My God, it's so beautiful. I sang this song for months. You can never hold back spring. Beautiful, so beautiful. I jumped for one day when I heard first time the song.
And was Jean Reno someone you had worked with before? Or?
No, it was first time. But you know, I was in Italy looking for somebody for this character. And out of the blue, he appears on TV. He was promoting a movie, and suddenly said, looking in my face from the TV, say, I would like to work with Mr. Benigni. Where are you, Roberto? I said, my God, if he was asking to me. And I called him. And said, I am here, ready for a movie. It was really unbelievable, beautiful. And he read the script and he said immediately, yes, wonderful actor, really, one of the great face. He is born to be there in the screen. Really born to be there. Unbelievable and very wise man. Unbelievable. I have to thank him too. Yeah.
I think we're probably...
Thank you.
Are we out of time?
I don't know. Normally they came in and said you should go, but now they
I did very
come,
quick.
So.
Yeah.
Just wanted to ask about the element of fantasy in your films, because although this is again a very serious subject and strong emotions, you have the dream sequences.
Yeah.
Is it important for you to have an element of dreams and fantasy?
Oh yes, a lot, because it's important not to mix fantasy and reality. What happened, and it's not easy. It's difficult style, but because you know, he's a poet, and the dream, there is a liaison with the dream. We are told there is poems about dreams. His life is like a dream. It's like so. It's all the entire movie is about dream, because it's part of of our life dream. No, it's really it's and it has been a dream to make this movie for me.
That's fun.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
I think I miss few words, like. So I tell you before. Sometimes I miss some words, but okay.
Don't worry. Okay, then let's roll in.
So I wanted to talk generally about the film and the message of the film. Do you see it first and foremost as an anti-war film with a message that love is more important than anything? Or what's the main message of the film?
I think the strong, powerful example in the movie is that Attilio, that is a poet, makes himself of his life a poetry, and the movie is full of powerful, very hidden and powerful secrets. One of them and these secrets are shown by the example of Attilio. So one of them is that Attilio, without hopes, he trusts, and he is winning because of that. So it's like able to put himself in the fire without a wink of an eye, and there is the taste of the unbearable hazard in life, and that is love. And the war is the contest, but is the contest that shows the horror, is the opposite of love. So this movie, it is against the war, and it's really loud with the very most subtle voice, but it's really loud. That's what wants to be. That is the way of screaming really, really loud with very subtle voice.
Do you feel that that a film can make a serious contribution to changing people's attitudes about serious things like war?
I think everything we do can change. Every words are really important. So every communication between human beings, between us, is very important to change. And so we have to keep talking to each other and dig and talk and communicate and try to be really open.
I wanted to ask you about being a producer on the film. Mm-hmm. This is your first film as the only producer, I think I'm right in saying. Did you find that a terrifying prospect, or did you relish being in control of everything?
No, actually, I've been producing from 1991, but always not. I made a road that took me to this, but I was always doing that job from 1991. So it's a road. But no, also Pinocchio, and but I was also with Melampo made all the movie, and Melampo is me and Roberto.
I just on the credits it says on the other films there were other producers with you.
Si.
But this one you're by yourself.
No, also in Pinocchio.
No? Oh yeah. Okay, sorry,
so,
my mistake. How involved were you with all the different parts of the production?
The production for me is mainly to be with the director to work on the aesthetic choices. This is what it is. And to be free, totally free, as independent, it means to be open what is new and what is different from you. To be so self-confident that you can be, you can open your doors to everything that comes from outside.
And so having your own production company, this is vital to being able to have this freedom.
I'm sorry?
Because you have your own production company, this is, I guess, really important to you in order to have the creative freedom.
No, it's been very important. We are very proud that we made it,
Do you find it hard to be the producer and one of the stars of the film? How do you juggle that?
No, it's just a lot of work, but
Visita
no,
mi canal.
it's okay.
In terms of your character in the film, you spend a lot of the film in a coma. What challenge does that pose for you as an actor?
Every single segment, every single part of the movie, I take it the same way. I act, whatever I do. So even that was an acting segment. But everything, as for every work, for every job, if you do it trying to do what you want, maybe it's always very difficult. So yes, it takes a lot of work.
Early on in the film, Vittoria goes to Attilio's apartment and she almost gives in to him, and then she leaves. Why does she do this?
Vittoria is hiding. She has a mask. She's hiding the real dimension of her inner real dimension. That is, she's suffering. So she has to cover that. She cannot show that. In a different way from Attilio is trying to get what he loves, even with no hope. He tried to get the life even with no hope. She does the opposite. She renounces of what she loves. But then, you know, they will meet, although they follow different ways. Her most hidden dimension is this suffering, and she doesn't want to show it to Attilio, otherwise Attilio maybe can work it out. But sometimes she gets angry, and that angriness is a sign of that job that she does to cover that pain.
I wondered if her head and her heart were in conflict, maybe, because she wants to give in to him, but he is so crazy in a way.
There is this very little secret rope in the story of the movie that we cannot reveal, but there is this very secret that is going all through the story, and at the end will be revealed. So we have to be very careful talking about that. But for sure, it seems she's a person that has a heart and a mind that are really strong. She's, I don't know how to say it in English, sprezzante. She doesn't care of the fear. She doesn't care of the danger too, in a different way. And the danger is inside herself, is her heart, but she's, they get along because of that, because she's tough.
Where was the film shot?
Where was shot?
Where was it filmed?
In Rome and in Tunisia, where we were trying to build some. We built some Iraq with the help of special effects, and then in studio in Papigno near Terni, in this very great place to work.
Attilio is a poet, and he uses poetry all the way through the film.
See?
Poetry is central. Do you see the film maybe as a poem in itself, like one long poem?
The life of Attilio is a poet that makes of his life poetry. That is what is very strong. And the putting together of all the lines, of all the poetries that Roberto likes, and we all like, makes even the dialogues very intense. And this together, it's like a poetry, the life of the character, the character is a poet, and then the dialogues are poetry. So that makes the movie very dense and intense of poetry, because in each detail is poetry.
And at the same time, there's all this serious things going on. There's also fantasy sequences, the dream that Titilio has with the wedding. Is this an important element to have a little bit of dream or fantasy in the film?
The dream reveals
Tráilers. Visita mi canal.
that the soul, that the heart of Attilio is totally direct, and help us to understand how loud is the love in his heart, how present and vivid. It was shot in this part of Caracalla that was a part of Caracalla made double in proportion and built in studio, and because there is something that I think calls back an ancestral experience of the man, of all of us, that is being very little in front of something that is very big. No? So you feel little man with the universe that is so big, and that emotion comes out from that scene, is ancestral and a little bit archetypical.
And finally, I just wanted to ask about the casting. Was it always from the beginning going to be you and Roberto in the central leads?
We are like, the only example I can take is like the example of in theater of company, of theatrical company. We are set like that from more than a century of we are set like a company, like from more than a quarter of a century. So we work like that. We are a team of work. So we were doing many things by ourselves. It's not that we only worked together. Either Roberto and I both, we made different works by ourselves, but those movies we made together, and they were built, was a road we made together, we built together.
And I noticed the Jim Jarmusch connection with Tom Waits, maybe.
We met Tom in 1985 with Jim, and for Down by Law. So yes, that was the beginning of a friendship, very strong, with all of them, with Sarah Driver, with Kathleen, with both.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Grazie.